Welcome. One thing that I find fascinating about Big Brother, or any type of competitive series for that matter, are the records. Seeing how far they can be pushed and who is doing the pushing, it can be astonishing watching someone break the barriers we thought would never be broken. At some point though, a ceiling has to be reached and a record will inevitably end up standing for the rest of time. So today, I thought it would be a great idea to go through some of Big Brother's most illustrious records, seeing who's got the crown for each so far, and if that ceiling has indeed been reached. If you like the video idea, I got this from Angel Cake Entertainment, who did this type of video for the challenge. So definitely go check that out, as it is a wonderful video with some really cool records to look at. Now, with all of that said, let's get started with our first record.
Are you kidding me? More days. I couldn't be more excited.
For our first category, we have the most days spent in the Big Brother house. As our winner, we have Nicole Franzel with 254 days spent in the house, followed by Janelle at 200 days, Danny Donato at 194 days, Paul with 191 days, and Cody rounding out the top 5 with 182 days. I really don't see anyone making a run for Nicole's title anytime soon, because not only does she have a 54-day lead on the next closest person, I don't know who would even be the person to try and contest this. I don't know when Janelle will be back again. Danny said she's done playing. Paul has moved on to bigger things in their life, and Cody still has to make it 73 days to beat the record if he were to even return again. So I'm going to have to say that this record likely isn't being broken anytime soon, and if it ever is, I don't think it'll be broken by any of the people we just talked about.
I've been in the house more than any other house guest ever.
I just recently passed 230 days spent in this house, which means it's more than Paul.
Friendship.
It's more than Janelle.
Bucks mixed with brains is a deadly combination.
Up next, we have the most total competition wins, only including HOH and veto. No Battle of the Block or wild card or whatever. We've had some pretty killer competitors throughout the last 20 years, and it's a close race. We have literally almost all the same players in the top 5 as the Days one. Tied for the lead, we have Paul and Cody at 14 wins each, followed very closely by Janelle with 13, Danny and Tyler coming up next with 10 wins apiece, Nicole Franzel has 9 wins, and then rounding out the back, we got Jackson and Frankie with 8. Although it's a very close battle, again, I don't know when this is going to be broken. In Janelle's last 2 appearances, she unfortunately hasn't been able to win any HOHs or vetoes, and in general, I don't really think any of these players are coming back again. Realistically, the people that I think are the most likely returnees with the highest number of comps are Rachel Riley, Casey Clark, and maybe Vanessa, who each have 7 wins, but they would need to come back and win 8 competitions in one season to take the record, which isn't impossible, but only a handful of players have ever done it, and with their threat levels, it'd be incredible for them to make it far enough in the season and surviving while winning that many comps. So for now, I think this record is standing right where it is, but you never know.
Dude,
It's gotta be Frankie for you.
seconds.
Wow, look at you. Dude, honestly, you're a freak.
Huge move. I just won the biggest comp of the summer so far. We're keeping the noms the same, and we're sending that boy out of the house.
Sticking to a similar topic, the next record is the most comp wins in a single season. Once more, only HOHs and vetoes. And the winner for this one is, of course, Janelle, who has a monstrous 9 competition wins in Big Brother 7. Following Janelle is just a 4-way tie between Paul, Cody, Jackson, and Frankie, who each have 8 comp wins in one season. But Frankie did have the benefit of the Battle of the Block to allow him to compete in more HOHs, but whatever. Janelle holds the record, and although 4 people have proven that it's very possible to get close, I really don't think we're going to see anyone beat it anytime soon. I think someone could tie it for sure, and it's definitely not impossible for someone to get 10 wins in a season, but we are slowly coming up on 20 years since Janelle set her record in a season with like 6 less competitions than what we have today, and still nobody has even tied it. So I am pleased to say that I think we still have a bit of time to enjoy Janelle's solo record.
I'm Janelle Cruzina, and I was on Big Brother 6 and Big Brother All-Stars.
Congratulations, Janelle.
I hold the record for most competition wins in a season. 5 powers of vetoes and 4 HOHs.
Up next one, it's a pretty good one. We've got the most consecutive rounds survived without being nominated for Eviction. The caveat for this one, though, is that I am looking for players who survived the longest before being nominated for the first time in a season. So if you're nominated in week 1 and then somehow go all the way to the end without being nominated again, I'm not counting you for this list. But luckily, that doesn't really change too much. This one took a bit of extra research, and I am very surprised with what I found. At the top, of course, you have Derek, who survived 54 straight nominations in Big Brother 16. Who could have guessed that being number one? For the second one, we have Austin from Big Brother 17, who survived 41 straight nominations, which was quite impressive and not one I was expecting to see so high on this list. Tied with Austin is Paul from Big Brother 19, but only if you want to count them not getting nominated by Cody in week 1. I personally wouldn't put Paul here, but I knew someone would bring it up, so I mentioned them anyways. Next on this list is Nicole in Big Brother 18 and Holly Allen from Big Brother 21, with 35 straight nominations survived. After them, we have the one that I was probably the most shocked at, and that's Azza, who was able to slide through 34 nominations without going on the block in Big Brother 23. And lastly, in a three-way tie, we have BB18 James, BB21 Tommy, and Big Brother 22 Cody, surviving 31 straight nominations without being nominated. It may be surprising to see some people not on this list, like Jason and Danielle, or even an Enzo. But those seasons just didn't have that many nominations because the vetoes were rarely used. That same sentiment goes for Cody, the only US player to go an entire season without ever touching the block, but the veto was used only twice all season, and with little other shenanigans, there were simply just not enough nominations for him to get by to make it high on this list. As for if this record will ever be broken, I mean, come on. 54 is an absolutely ludicrous number. I mean, literally no other season has even had 54 nominations in general. So based on that precedent, as things stand now, Derek's record is genuinely unbeatable.
Judy, seeing myself done up as a pharaoh really puts in perspective how good of a game I played this year. I wasn't nominated once through 55 noms and renoms. I always wanted to be Spider-Man.
Next up, we have a record that I'm sure most people aren't too keen on trying to beat. This is the record for the most nominations in one season. For this category, we have the Queen Victoria coming in with a whopping 10 nominations in Big Brother 16, followed by Spencer Clausen and Johnny Mac with 9 nominations each, and rounding out the bottom, we have Amy Cruz and Donnie Thompson with 7 apiece. I feel bad that I keep saying this, but I don't think this one is ever getting broken. Maybe we could see this record get tied in the future, but getting nominated 10 times is unbelievable and would take a truly masterful game player to pull it off. In a standard 16-player season with no battle back, you are only allowed 3 rounds off from being nominated to even have a chance at taking the record. And if you ever win HOH, that's one of your bye weeks. So overall, I think this record is going to stand the test of time. This title belongs to Victoria, and I hope to never see the day that it gets broken.
Victoria, you're looking beautiful as ever.
Caleb. It's extremely disappointing that Caleb did not make a huge game move. He's just a wimp, and I am baffled at how pathetic his speech was.
Honestly, the girl was on the block 9 times. Both times I was on the block, I had complete nervous breakdowns. She's been on the block 9 times. That takes strength.
Once more, we have a record I'm sure people aren't bending over backwards to try and beat, and that's the most eviction votes against a house guest all time. Way up at the top with no one close to him, we have Kaser with 33 lifetime votes against him. 33! That is more than 2 full casts of house guests, which is insane. In second place, we have Kaser's good old pal Janelle with 21 votes, who is followed by Devon with 18, Frank with 16, and then a 3-way tie between Jace Wiry, Nicole Anthony, and Bailey Dayton with 15 votes cast against them. Unless Janelle comes back and is unanimously evicted first in a 13-0 vote, Kaser's record of 33 is not going to be beaten. To put this into perspective, in a 14-person season, the maximum amount of votes that you could receive against you in the game is 31, and that's if you are on the block every single week and survive by just 1 vote every single time. Kaser's 33 votes against him should never be beaten.
By a unanimous vote, by a vote of 7-1, of 5-1, of 10-0, Kaser, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Up next, we have the highest average placement, but you have to play multiple times for this to count. This record is for the players that just did do well at Big Brother. You make it far in the game multiple times, you probably have a spot on this list. Tied for first, we have Dan and Cody with an average placement of 1.5. In third, we have Paul with their perfect average placement of second. And we have a 3-way tie for fourth with Enzo, Dr. Will, and Jordan Lloyd with an average placement of 2.5. Now, it is extremely impressive for both Dan and Cody that they made it to the end twice and won once, but because they didn't win both times, the door is genuinely left open. Mark my words, there will be a two-time winner of Big Brother at some point, and it's possible that this two-time winner will win on their second attempt, giving them the perfect average placement of 1.0. Casey, Josh, Xavier, maybe even an old school one-time player, or maybe someone that we haven't even seen yet will come in to snatch the two-time crown. I really do think that this record will be beaten at some point, but it's probably going to be a long, long time until it happens.
Right. And I thought if I could get to that final two seat, I could. Give me that. Can I get that?
Yeah,
if I get to that final two seat, maybe
what would happen?
Maybe I could do this to the jury,
dude.
But I think I ran out.
You ran. Yeah, the can was empty. The can was empty right when you got there.
Up next, we have the most consecutive rounds safe due to winning safety or having safety used on you. This isn't the most rounds spent off the block. This is specifically talking about being granted safety in consecutive weeks. This one's an interesting one because it can be a combination of winning safety yourself through your physical game or convincing someone else to use safety on you through your strategic and social game. Or it's just stupid luck, because at the number 1 spot, we have a tie between Dan and Paul. Dan did it in a very fair and impressive sort of way. In Big Brother 10, he won safety 5 out of 6 weeks, and he got Memphis to use the veto on him the week that he didn't win anything, so Dan got a clean 6 consecutive weeks of safety out of it to end his Big Brother 10 journey. Paul also had 6 weeks though, but it has about 5 asterisks next to it. It starts in Big Brother 18, where they won safety at the Final 4 and the Final 3, and then they continued the streak by instantly being immune in the first round of Big Brother 19 due to Kevin taking the $25,000 temptation, and then Paul getting the Pendant of Protection, which kept them safe for the next 3 evictions. So Paul was technically safe for 6 straight rounds, but it was over consecutive seasons, and 4 of the weeks it was due to a twist. But this is just a record we're looking at for fun, so we'll count it. In third place, we have Ian, who had 5 straight weeks of safety in Big Brother 14. And, oh boy, in a 14-way tie for 4th, we have Drew, James Ryan, Jen Johnson, Frank, Shane, McCrae, Caleb, Cody, Big Meech, Morgan, Mark, Jason, and Jackson Mickey, all of whom had 4 consecutive weeks of safety. Jeez. Anyways, will this record ever be broken? Yeah, I do think so, because it's already almost happened so many times. Ian and Casey were both 1 veto win away from having 7 straight weeks of safety, and Jackson was 1 veto away from having 8 straight weeks, so it's definitely possible, and I think it's just a matter of time before we see someone have an absolutely monstrous streak of immunity.
And Dan has found the second veto. Memphis is not far behind as both...
The whole week strategy, I mean, at this point, it's a wash. You know, I won my first veto, I won an HOH, and then I followed up with another veto. I mean, no one's dumb enough to believe I'm a weak player in this game at this point.
And now, lastly, we have the most money won. Which player has won the most money in Big Brother history? At the top, no surprise here, we have the only winner since they upped the prize money up to $750,000 with Xavier. After him, we have Derek at $575,000, who got such hefty bonuses for being a part of Team America. Then we have Dan at third with $570,000, followed by Cody with $550,000, and bringing up the rear, we have Boogie with $526,000. We are in a spot where it's not a matter of if this record will be broken, it's when, because all that has to happen from here on out is the winner of any future season can just win any amount of money through a prize or a comp or whatever, and they can take the crown as the player who's won the most money in Big Brother history. It could literally just be $1 and they'd win. So yeah, this one is for sure changing.
So now, does the cookout keep going?
Absolutely. The cookout's sticking together. It seems like all y'all want an invite.
Yeah, I do want an invite. And guess who's paying? You are.
Yeah, I'll pay.
And there we go. I love looking at numbers and analyzing and comparing, so this video topic was very, very fun for me to do. There, of course, exist other records that I didn't talk about, so if there was a favorite record of yours that I missed that you are keen on sharing, please leave it in the comments. I love looking at them. Of course, I need to give an extra special shout out to my YouTube members who continuously break the record of how much love I can have for my viewers. And as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
So what would you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day?
I'm a cereal junkie. My cereal habit can be a little bit embarrassing at times, so in the Big Brother house, I have found it best to get up in the middle of the night and just pound bowls of cereal by myself when nobody else is there.
Are you eating cereal in the middle of the night?
Is that Matt? Oh, Matt.
What's the cereal for tonight?
S'mores, bruh. This stuff is crack, man.
I'm scared to try it.
Don't do it.